Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show, we're talking about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Supernatural. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we have that opening where it's like, oh, we're on Earth 2. And, God walks into, that place. God, I like the little bits of hints of like, oh, yeah, things are a little different because it's like, oh, Hillary Clinton won. And the fact that she's in the process of, trying to work on her reelection. So, little details like that. But the fact of the matter is, God's like watching all of the Earths on the TV. And I love the whole situation of him being like, basically, it's like, he's upset because for him, it's like none of them matter. It's like, he's like, I've done all these different Earths, all these different people, some people completely different on Earths, other people's being like, they're the same people, just differently on different Earths, like they're multitude of Sams and Deans. But for him, it's like nothing beats OG Sam and Dean, our Sam and Dean. They're his Sam and Dean. The fact is that once he always cheered for and rooted for, and it's just for him, it's like you never get the ending you want, but it's just kind of like, he's kind of always gotten the endings he wanted with the other Earths, but it's just Sam and Dean always have been special. They always impress him, they disappoint him, and they surprise him, and they challenge him was kind of the word in particular he had said. So they always hold a special place in his heart because, Earth 1 is the first Earth he makes. It's the first thing he made, and he just spread out from there. So for him, he's kind of tired of more. He's just tired of it all. And it's like, yes, less is more. So going forward, he's going to wipe out the rest of the multiverse because for him, it's like the fact of the matter. What was it he was saying? Basically, it was like no. I forgot the exact wording he used because I loved it so much because it was like an inside thing of like because he treated it like TV shows. He's like no more spin-offs or stuff like that. No more failed spin-offs or something like that. These TV shows are about to get canceled, and it's just because once again he looks at Earth 1 the entirety of Supernatural as a TV show for him. So it's kind of like Sam and Dean's life in particular. So it's interesting on that side of things. Then you have Jody getting kidnapped by who you can pretty much figure because of the opening, Dark Kaya. While, the Winchesters are trying to figure out this whole situation with Jack because Castiel and Dean are like, we kind of really have no much more choice. We just kind of have to follow Billy's plan. But for Sam's the one that's the most like against it because it's like, for one, we don't know what Billy, is up to because she hasn't let us in on all the plans. And the fact of the matter is, say Jack does kill God, what then? Because the whole thing is the thought process is like, is like once you kill God, everything kind of gets knocked off of balance because there can only be one God, apparently, to think about. So it's like, but the fact is, you don't assume Billy has thought this through. And that was something that, Dean had said was like, the fact is Billy is able to see the bigger picture. So she probably knows more about this than we do. But Sam is just kind of like, well, how do we know? Like, she hasn't told us anything. So we don't know if she really has everything figured. Granted, as Death, she has a much bigger purview. It's interesting because when you actually think about it in the grand scheme of things, it almost seems, Death is the most powerful thing, sadly. It's like there's no escaping, there's no running from it because eventually it catches up to you, especially if you're in a Final Destination movie. Oh, that's so true. But the fact of the matter is, I think that's just such an interesting element. And even Sam's like, well, Jack died. Like, he still never, and that was an interesting point to bring up. Jack still hasn't replenished his soul. Like, his soul is still completely burned away from when he used it at one time. So he hasn't gotten his soul back. So who's to say that Jack isn't still messed up from that? Plus, all that time he spent in the months he spent in the empty is like that had to have done something to him. But like the fact is, you see Jack walking by and he sees SW Sam Winchester, DW Dean Winchester, and MW Mary Winchester. It makes him feel even more guilty remembering because it's still on the cusp of him having killed Mary and everything. It was a mistake and everything, but it still is there. And Merle, the Reaper, shows up because basically she's there to keep an eye on him because that's what Billy kind of left her to do. So, and because even Sam goes, at any point in time when you were back, you could have come to us, right? And Jack's like, I know. But I think for him, it's the thing of like, he couldn't face Sam and Dean because he felt like the last time he saw them was under the whole complicated thing of like, yeah, they forgave him. And in particular, Dean didn't kill him, but it's still a thing of like, they were at that point where Dean was going to kill him because of what he did to Mary, of like, he needed to be stopped. So it kind of puts them in this weird, complicated place, But it's just more so than anything, it's just the guilt of, oh, I killed Mary and I feel responsible for it. So while that's happening, they get a call from Jody, which I even love that conversation between Dean and Jack. I mean, Dean and Cassio, because Cassio's like, oh, Jack, Kelly always had full belief in everything that that Jack is, that he would be kind of like had a greater destiny in front of him. And for Cassio, he was lost because he felt like, no, there had to be more to Jack's story. And it turns out there is. And it's just for him, it's like Jack going to complete his destiny by taking out God, which Dean's like, yeah, but also there's revenge in it. And Cassio's like, I'm more concerned about Jack's. You know, it's like, yeah, I get it, Jack's destiny and all that. But Dean's kind of like, but come on, you got to admit the irony behind, oh, basically God is going to be done in by his grandchild. You got to enjoy the, like, kind of the poetic justice of it. And so, you know, but obviously everything with Jody, and it turns out it's Dark Kaya, like I said. I love she's asking for the spear and everything. It's like, oh yeah, that got broke last season. Yeah, Michael broke that, so that's not going to do you. Like, which is so interesting because it's such a special spear, yet it was so easily broken. And I was like, I guess there's just no repairing that or doing anything else with that. Just I guess like she needed. I mean, it's such a special weapon. It makes you wonder: is it kind of supposed to be similar to like maybe an angel blade, maybe more powerful of an angel blade, or that demon killing knife they have? Maybe it's kind of in that same vein. I mean, I don't know if they've ever went too far, because you know there's like, aren't there like 3 like sacred items or something like that? Well, that's supposed to, because I'm about to say, isn't that supposed to be like the Spear of Destiny? It probably, well, they've actually dealt with the Spear of Destiny. I know I might be confusing. I know Legends dealt with the Spear of Destiny, but haven't they dealt with the Spear of Destiny in Supernatural? Maybe not. Because that's what I'm wondering. Like, is that what that's supposed to be? Maybe not, because it was so easily broken. Like, as I'm getting too caught up in semantics and stuff like that. But I vaguely feel like I remember Supernatural, like Sam and Dean crossing paths or something to deal with the Spear of Destiny. And like I said, I could be 100% wrong on that. Right? But nevertheless, she wants help with Jack. From Jack, it's like, well, to be fair, Jack was dead, so it's not like he could help you. But I mean, he's back in the picture, so your timing is interesting. But I thought about that because I was like, why now? Out of any point in time, like, you didn't track down the Winchesters at any point in time in between last season and this season. So why now do you want to get the your ride back to your world? But it's like, because it turns out Kaya's still alive. I'm like, that's super messed up. Kaya kind of got left there for dead, but I guess Dark Kaya didn't realize that. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, are you only just realizing that now, or did you know the entire time? And just like, I don't know. I guess maybe she was still trying to make it work in this world, because for her, this world, for her, it's cold. It's not, it's a world that's like, I don't find my place in it because I don't actually belong in this world. It's not my world. So for her, it's just kind of like, she just spends her time in dark corners, just hiding away, just because, you know, which is ironic considering the world she comes from, where she has to literally hide in dark corners to survive. But I mean, to be fair, maybe that's a little different. I mean, to be fair, because she said like, oh, she was jealous. She was envious of Kaya because like, oh, this world she came from was so peaceful and beautiful, which is ironic considering all the monsters, you know, that are running around. But to be fair, it's not nearly as dark and bleak as the bad place that she's from, you know, which is literally called the bad place, you know. So yeah, that's a whole complicated thing in itself. But in an attempt to save Kaya, they're going to have to try and open a portal to that world, but obviously they don't want to use Jack, because the moment Jack uses his power, God's going to be aware, so that's going to get rid of their element of surprise. So they're trying to find other means, but it doesn't. They end up referencing do they even check their dad's journal? I can't remember the last time they actually looked through their dad's journal. I guess with all the Men of Letters like library that they have at their disposal, they don't really need their dad's journal as much. But it's like, oh yeah, like that thing that we potentially could use for an ingredient, yeah, it's extinct. Our dad apparently killed the last one we read in his journal. Like, I feel like I haven't heard them mention John's journal in forever, you know. So that's why I'm curious about that. Maybe, I don't know, I feel like, because obviously they have other resources now to kind of pull from. It's a much larger scale than, like, you know, because that's only from like everything their dad experienced over, you know, his years of hunting. And this is like, well, obviously this is like a legacy passed down from generation to generation worth of knowledge, you know. So it's a little bit different. It was just kind of an interesting little detail. But the fact of the matter is, it's not until, you know, you hear like Jack was overhearing the conversation between Castiel and Jody, because Claire is actually following the lead on the black coat, you know, because she never found out about the person in the black coat being Kaya. She never found that out. So, and I guess like Sam and Dean probably, I think they might have referenced, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but when they found out it was Kaya, they probably didn't want to tell anyone because it's just like, that would have made things harder and stuff like that, you know, and everyone. So that's why Jodie's like, I'm not going to tell Claire about it because I think, because she had suggested like if they don't get Kaya back, it'll devastate her because she already feels guilty about the whole Kaya situation. So it's like if they didn't bring Kaya, like if, you know, they found out about this other Kaya and she ended up dying, well, that she's alive, but they couldn't save her, like she would have felt even more guilty. So, and Jack ends up talking to her, like, because obviously he feels guilty about it because obviously Kaya suggesting like, you're the one that kind of convinced Kaya to kind of, you know, get over. But I mean, to be fair, in Jack's mind, it was like I was trying to help her kind of fight her fear and everything. But so it's kind of like Jack feeling responsible because it's like I'm the one that kind of put Kaya in this position in the first place, so I do have to save her. Especially when he looks into dark Kaya's head and sees like, oh, like she's in danger. But obviously it's like, well, you've already used your power, so what are we gonna do? Merle shows up and it's like, and I love the moment she's there. She's like, that sound, I thought you were doing something stupid, but this sounds like Winchester stupid. And Dean's like, hey. But the fact of the matter is, you know, but I like how Jack handled it. He's like, no, go ahead and tell Billy. Tell Billy that you failed. And yeah, you could go ahead and be telling Billy, but by the time you get back, it's already going to be done. So, like, I'm going to open up the portal and everything. So it's like, you know, if you want Billy, because, you know, who's to say what Billy's going to do the moment she finds out? Ironic, that statement, because there's so much truth to that. But regardless, we'll get to it soon enough. But the fact is, it's like, you go ahead and do that, or you can help us find a smarter way out of it. And she's like, now this is stupid. This is Winchester stupid right here. And Dean's like, but, and she's like, well, we can help out. I like that whole conversation about like basically replenishing the cosmic seals, because they're like, no, we put it back. And she's like, no, you kind of did it, but they're apparently like, I guess because it's so ancient and they're so powerful runes that it's just like there's no easy way to fully 100% kick them back in. I didn't remember that because apparently I guess like Amara, like whenever Amara, because I'm blanking on a lot of season 11, but I guess the way she was talking about it, I guess it's like when Amara came there, because I didn't even remember she came there. I guess she ended up stripping all the cosmic stuff out just because she's literally at the top when it comes to cosmic level power and stuff like that. So, but luckily working together, they were able to, you know, Sam and Dean go inside. Castiel stays behind because obviously it's a means of like making sure the portal stays open. But he also asked Jodie to do it too because it's like if something happens to her while they're trying to save Kaya, losing Kaya will suck, you know, again. But at least she'll have Jodie. If she loses Jodie too, because Jodie's, you know, because for him, Castiel, it's like because of the whole thing with Jimmy. It's well, not just Jimmy, her mom too. Just like because of like me, like. Claire never got over the fact is that, you know, losing her dad and also her mom too, but more so like the dad, especially because I'm walking around her dad's skin. The fact of the matter is, like, I've taken from her and she found something, she found a family again, and I don't want to end up, you know, taking that away from her again. So that's why Jodie had to stay behind. It's so interesting because, like, the bad place is such an interesting place because we never got to fully explore. We got winks and nods to it, like, a little bit, but we don't know. I mean, I assume it's, like, similar to things that are in, you know, the main world, Earth 1, Earth Prime, if you want to go by, like, you know, Arrowverse terms to a certain extent, because now this isn't even Earth Prime. This is just pure Earth 1 because it sounds interesting when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Freaking Supernatural did their own version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I didn't even think about that till just now. Granted, it's different because not all the Earths are collapsed. It's literally like if you took, spoilers for Crisis, if you took Crisis, but you ended things on part 3, and it's like they saved the day instead of things continuing into part 4 and 5. So it's like if you did that, it's kind of interesting, which still kind of folds into the end result, but the situation is, it's all, this Earth is still the same. All those other Earths are gone permanently. Who knows if there's ever going to be any folding that Earth into this, whatever the case may be. It just presents a very interesting, it just presents an interesting thought in the grand scheme of things, you know? But, I love the fact is that it's like, like I said, you just don't get the full scope of it. Like that area, wooded areas, it's all we got because we don't know beyond those woods, like, what else exists in that world. I mean, I guess that's, I mean, that's like, I mean, to be fair, that's like any other Earth, even in the Arrowverse. Like, we only get peeks and nods at, and like looks into, we never get the full scope of like everything in each world. So it kind of fits the same. It's just so interesting because like the multiverse is something that was introduced only back in season 13. So for us to be like, oh wait, like, to kind of see it all disappearing now without us ever having an opportunity to fully explore, it's just kind of interesting to me. But nevertheless, luckily, like, none of the creatures are messing with them because every creature is pretty much running for its life because it's scared, and they run into Kaya and they're able to find her without issue, but Dark Kaya doesn't want to go. It's like she'll die in this world, but for her, it's like, this is her world. That world is Kaya's, so she has no place in it. So luckily they get out, and you just see the large, like, fog that extends, basically wiping out that world, which is kind of sad. I was kind of hoping Dark Kaya would come, or at least they'd convince her to come, but it's like, you know, because I guess she feels a little bad too, because it's like Kaya's still alive now, so it's like she's kind of going through hell living in this world that's mine, that I'm at least used to dealing with. She had to survive in it this entire time, which, to be fair, there's probably going to be ramifications for that, and I'm curious to see, like, you know, what that means for Kaya and the Grace. Because it's also interesting, because obviously, like, Dark Kaya could look into our Kaya's, you know, eyes and see, like, her life and everything. They've always been connected because the moment they were born. It's so interesting, but no other Winchesters have that same connection. Like, no Sam and Dean from any other Earth. I mean, to be fair, Apocalypse World, there was no Sam and Dean, for example. But still, it's like, there was no correlation in that regard. I mean, to be fair, their situation's different. They're Dreamwalkers, so, like, they can connect like that. But it just... So it kind of completely nullifies the point I was saying. Just ignore what I was saying, because I did kind of let it slip my mind, the whole aspect of them being Dreamwalkers. So that, well, I'm curious to see if that kind of plays any role going forward. Especially, I'm going to go ahead and say, because of what Billy says, basically like, oh, one life means nothing. It's like, you say that, but one life could change the tide. I mean, who knows that one life being back in, you know, Jody's life and Claire's life can make all the difference that, you know, but you'd expect someone like Billy to be able to see the grand scheme of things, but that one life might not have mattered. You know, you're like, oh, what's one life to all out there? But it's like, that one life matters to somebody, so it matters to people. So, you know, it does matter. But, yeah, Merle was like, oh, yeah, we did it without a hitch. I mean, if God had found out about what we're up to, we'd all be dead. So I think we did slam the sight through her. I'm like, oh, because I was like, oh, something bad's about to happen. Something. And Billy, I was like, wow. Because even I was like, even OG death that we knew over the course of the series, like the death that, you know, Dean killed in season 10's finale, that death, home dude, he never killed any of his Reapers. So for Billy to go that far, it's like, but for her, maybe OG Reaper did that too, and we're just unaware. But for her, it's like, this coming battle, like, you're only as strong as your weakest player. Merle was weak because she let Jack do what he did. And the fact is, you could tell even Jack's scared. He's like, oh, hey, Billy, I was contacting you. She's like, I know. So it's like, holy crap. So I'm kind of basically walking around as like Mama Death, walking around looking like I'm super disappointed in all of you for doing this asinine plan. And it's actually interesting because she explained some stuff that like we've never really kind of gotten to know. I mean, because it's something I've brought up before that Billy kind of reiterates is like, oh, that even God can die, you know. And that was something once again that Death brought up years ago to Dean, that I've kind of referenced multiple times, where he had said, you know, until, like, you know, even God isn't beyond death. Because it turns out God doesn't write someone's death, like someone's life and their death, like God doesn't write those books, you know. It's actually, they write themselves. They're not something that can be like, oh, it's not like Billy writes him as death. It's not like God writes him. It's like they write themselves, basically to kind of keep this world, as when God left this world to kind of make other worlds, the fact that because he wants more and more and more, he wanted other playthings, he wanted other toys, which is so ironic considering he's destroying his smash. I mean, he's literally a child having a tantrum right now because it's like, I hate all these other toys. They're not as good as my old toys. It's kind of the whole point. But the fact of the matter is that to basically keep this world, like basically to keep the fabric of time and space and everything intact on a cosmic level, he folded himself into the fabric of this world, hence why the book can work the way it does. You know, why he can basically die and stuff like that. You know, so he's kind of bound to the rules. Which is so interesting because, like, you know, Billy is a stickler for rules. You'd almost think there would be rules against killing a Reaper that there'd be ramifications for. Maybe it's like, hey, that's your form of firing someone, so you're kind of entitled to it. I mean, granted, that's not a good way to fire someone, not a good thing to do in general, but I guess amongst amongst death and Reapers, that's okay. I don't know. We'll see in the grand scheme of things. But, basically, once again, Billy being like, the fact is, I can see the entire chessboard. There's a much larger game at play here, letting them know, like, oh, all those other worlds, they're going. And it's like, yep, God is cleaning the board except for this world, so we only have one shot to make this happen. Even saying that Sam and Dean are going to be the heralds. Because, once again, what did Billy tell Dean all that time ago? You have a special role to play in all of this. So it's a situation of, this is what that special role is. You two are going to be the messengers for the end of God. So it's like this whole battle, like ending God, they're going to be key figures in this whole situation as well. So there's all of that. So I'm curious to see, like, as this continues of like building up, you know, Jack's strength. But even then, it's like we still don't know the ins and outs of what Billy is up to. So, but regardless of all that, you know, they've still got a better idea than what they did before. But she told them things without telling them everything, because I guess she's still playing everything kind of close to the vest. I am curious at the end of the day. I mean, we all know that Death can die, so I'm kind of getting an inkling like Billy's probably not going to survive this. She probably already knows that, but for her, it's like, I don't care. Like, as long as we stop what's coming, because what's coming is literally the end of everything, and so we need to stop him. And when we see, like, oh, poor bastard, you know, it's like, could we see, like, you know, on, you know, Earth 2, Chuck has got the screens, like, basically natural disasters are wiping out different Earths, like, one looks like a flood, another looks like fire. It's like, all right, so that's all happening. And then home dude at the store, he's like, oh, is that all? Are they done? But you're going to spare us, right? He's like, yeah, but some worlds are going to take, some can be wiped out in an instance, others take a little bit longer. He's like, but ours is spared, right? He's like, yeah, everything's going to be okay. I was like, oh, you poor bastard. I actually expected him to kill that dude the moment he had a chance, but it's like, and he's just walking away, and lo and behold, what happens, literally meteors are coming down. It's like, oh, so you're literally wiping, I guess you brought back a classic, wiping out the dinosaurs and stuff like that. So I guess this was kind of like your way to kind of like, oh, well, bring back a classic to end this world. So it's like, hell of a way to end the episode. So I'm very interested to see ultimately where all this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. I am glad to have Supernatural back. We're down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. This is like, we are entering the final episode of Supernatural ever. So it's going to be crazy to see as we, you know, tick down this road. Like, you know, what other familiar faces, what other returns are we going to have in these past, you know, last couple episodes? What characters are going to make their final appearances and stuff like that? All that's kind of crossing my mind, you know. So we'll ultimately have to wait and see. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.